I'm using, yeah, okay. Once more, good morning and welcome to our meditation time. I invite you to get comfortable, feel that flow of energy in you, uncross everything so that you are allowing that divine flow. This morning I'm going to read you a poem that I learned when I was 14 years old, leading a Canadian Girls in Training under the Leadership of Jesus thing. Um, it was a camp for middle school girls. It was great. So it's a 2,500-year-old piece, part of the Rig Veda. I did not know that. Probably the Sunday school teachers that put us together didn't know it either. It's called Salutation to the Dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day, such is the salutation to the dawn. I'm going to read it one more time, and then the music's going to be playing in the background softly. And I invite you to continue contemplating this idea. If you would prefer a mantra, go ahead and do that. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn. Would the usher please open the door so people can come in? You can keep your eyes closed if you want to. We're going to light the flames of faith, which is a call of inclusivity and service. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as practitioner Aidan Greeny lights the last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. And it's good then just to deepen into that consciousness. The band will start playing in a couple of minutes, and the service begins with a sing-along at 10:30.
right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in San Clemente. We're so glad you're here with us this beautiful Sunday morning. And we'd like to have you join us on our first sing-along song, which is a song by Karen Drucker, What Is Mine to Give? Here we go.
What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine?
David Page on drums. Our song leaders, Karen Allen and Rick Dale. I'm Diane King Van over here on the keys. And our soloists today are the fabulous Jewel Tone Choir, with some snippets of what you will see in our show coming up in June. So it's a little pre-commercial. But now it's your turn to sing another song. Please stand, stretch those legs up, and join us on I Am Enough, an original Rick Dale tune.
If ever I fly, God knows why, the mind that knows all will not let me fall. When I feel blind, God's light shines through you and me as harmony. I am enough, I'm made of God's stuff. I go with the flow and God lets me know that the balance of life is the dance of love. Though good may seem far, it's near as you are. Though bad may be here, it will disappear. In the middle of this, I have found bliss through you and me as harmony. I am enough, I'm made of God's stuff. I go with the flow and God lets me know that the balance of life is the dance of love.
And now it's time to meet and greet your neighbors. And work your way on back because we have one more fabulous verse to sing together. Here we go. Whenever I fail.
Whenever I fail, God fills my sails. And when I succeed, it's not only me, it's the limitless light that makes it all right. Through you and me as harmony. I am enough. got stuck. I go with the flow, and God lets me know that the balance of life is the dance of love. I am enough. I'm made of God's stuff. I go with the flow, and God lets me know that the balance of life is the dance of love.
Good morning. Wow, there's a lot of people here today. And that makes me really happy because, we like to meet people, to hang out with each other. For those of you who've never been here before, we are a transcendental center for spiritual living. And we're so glad that you all came here today because we know that you had lots of choices as to what you could do today. You could be sleeping, you could be golfing, probably where Grant would like to be right now. You could be out enjoying the sunshine, you could be watching TV, but you've chosen to be here. And that's really nice because what we do here is we learn and teach spiritual principles. And when you apply these principles, your life works better. In fact, I was explaining to someone one of the concepts I learned from Dr. Heather. Anybody ever encounter somebody who confuses you or bothers you or irritates you or even possibly angers you at times? Has that ever happened? Well, Dr. Heather taught me something. Whenever that occurs, I now say to myself, how odd of God to show up that way. And it really does diffuse everything, at least internally for me. So feel free. We're going to start the way we start everything around here. We're going to start with an affirmative prayer. So I invite you to go inward to join me. Right here, right now, together, I invite you to join me in recognizing the truth. The truth is simply this, that behind it all, there is only one infinite intelligence of pure love, of pure joy, of infinite capacity for beauty, for appreciation, for gratitude, for prosperity of every good thing. And it penetrates and occupies every space because in its original state, it's formless. So it is within each one of us. So inside me and outside me, every space, every point is crackling with creativity and power. And so I know that I am, as everyone is, a direct expression of this one, of infinite love, of infinite joy, direct expressions of infinite power and creativity, extended here into this realm of time and space, also created by this infinite being as its vehicles for doing what life does. That each of us is Spirit's vehicle for expressing more of itself, which is more love, more joy, more harmony, more health, more prosperity, more fun. And so I claim for each person here that throughout this service and after, that each of us is receiving that spark of wisdom, that revelation of truth that removes any veils, any obstacles that up until now may have prevented us from accepting that we can and do and are able to live the life of our dreams. So I know that each person can leave this service moving forward confidently, knowing that each of us is constantly guided and directed and protected by this infinite being within us. So knowing that this is so, I claim that any healing that needs to happen in anyone, anywhere, for any reason for this good to be accepted unconditionally, I claim this healing's happening right here and right now. And it's palpable, and I invite you to feel it with me. And so with peace and joy and calm and confidence, I simply let it be as I release it into these perfect laws that always act with precision and can always be trusted. And I simply let it be, as together we say, and so it is. And now I invite practitioner Jill Burnett with our affirmation.
Thank you, Bruce. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to read the affirmation first, and then it'll show up on the wall here, and we'll read it together. I hear truth, I understand truth, and I live in alignment with truth, and so it is. I hear truth, I understand truth, and I live in alignment with truth. And so it is.
Thank you, Jill. And now I'd like to welcome the Jewel Tones Choir and our accompanist for today, Jules Vogel. We also have a soloist in the middle of our tune coming up, which will be Mr. Rick Dale. One more, guys.
People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope that you decide kindness would be your guide. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me, and me. You just wait and see. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Another day goes by, and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, you want that hate to grow. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you and me, and me. You just wait and see.
Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart.
Join hands,
Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart.
put a little love in your heart.
And please welcome Reverend Heather Dawn Clark.
Thank you, Jewel Tones Choir. Wow, that was amazing. And it was amazing that we didn't start that train. I kept looking at Reverend Judy. Is she starting? Is she going to start? But we were good, Diane, just in case you've got actions planned for the next time you do it. Ah, welcome, welcome, welcome. My message this morning is Spirit is everywhere all the time. This is not new news for any of you. Spirit is everywhere all the time. And what that means is that we're always expressing that one, whether we know it or not. Well, I'm going to start by introducing someone who knows it. She's going to tell you all about it. This is a time of demonstration or the answer to affirmative prayer. Please help me welcome Catherine Singer.
Hi, thanks. Wow, that choir rocks. I was taking a class with the lovely Judy Chapman, It's The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. Great book. I gave one to my one to my chiropractor and a book to a friend, and they just love it. Anyway, I've been photographing since I was 8 years old, and I have had challenges up until now selling my work. I've had people wanting to buy my work, and even then I have challenges. And in our class, we've learned the power of effective prayer. That's one thing that Judy's been teaching us, or that she was teaching us. So we all stood up and said what we wanted to be treated for, and I wanted to be treated for courage and confidence in selling my work and selling my work for what it's worth. And 3 days later, I got an email from my website. Now, I've gotten 3 emails in 15 years of my website, and 2 were bogus. And this one, he wanted to buy art to decorate his office, and I thought, well, I'll follow this one up. And I looked up his business. He was for real. He was in Corona, and it was an environmental group. So I emailed back and I said, well, what are you looking for? And he said he was looking for 12 to 16 pictures. And I sent a note to my photography Facebook group, and I said, how much should I charge for travel to Corona? And 41 people looked at it, and one person answered, I wouldn't travel to Corona. So the universe started testing me immediately. And I have a prayer pod with Mary Brogdon and Dina Hart, and we prayed about it. And someone said, check out his budget. He said $4,000 to $6,000, which hit my spot of not being quite confident. And I was like, oh my God. But he said, I want you to hang them. I want you to print them, mat them, frame them, and hang them. So I thought, okay, I'll do this. That's what we learned in The Power of Decision, to just go with life. And he said he wanted geology photos. I went through all my photos for days, and I started spinning my wheels. So I made a deadline. I said, Wednesday, we'll have a meeting. And I met with Anita Baraldi, and she did a prayer for me. She also gave me some sage advice, and I recorded the prayer and played it back in my car several times. And then before I left for the meeting, which I made for Wednesday, the night before, I was trying to get all the images up on my website. A lot of images, because my website was quite behind. And the universe tested me again, and the power went out at 6 o'clock. And I went outside, and the power people, it was my neighbor's box, and they said it'll be 2 hours. So by candlelight, I packed framed pictures and my prints for the car. And then at 9 o'clock till 12:30 in the morning, I set up my website. And then at 6:30 in the morning again. And I texted my prayer partners before I left, and they're like, it's done, go for it. I drove, it only took a half hour to get to Corona. I met with the guy, he was so nice, and he went through all my pictures on the website. He said, there's so many beautiful pictures to choose from. I don't know what to do. I only have 12. And I was like, wow, that was a great compliment. And we went back and forth about the price, and we both ended up with a price that we felt good about. And at the end I said, and how about if we throw tax on top of that? And he was fine with that. And we just came $500 below his budget. So I felt really good about that. And now my challenge is to I've been printing them all up and frame them, and I'm just very thankful. Oh, and I also texted my prayer partners on the way back. And well, of course, before I got in the car and drove. And they're like, yay. And it just felt great to have that support. It felt great to have the support of the class. And that's just, for me, that is the power of prayer. And I also asked Pam Rock, because she's a great prayer person too. So I just really appreciate this church and the prayers and the teachings. So thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. The teaching, the prayer, the classes. You just did a wonderful commercial for all of us. Congratulations. But that is the power of decision, and that is the power of prayer. That's what happens. So, yes, we're in our global vision, a world that works for everyone. Spirit talks to everyone all the time. And Catherine gave her wonderful demonstration. Chris Holmes, this is part of the Declaration of Principles. He said, we believe that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Put your hand on your heart. Feel that heartbeat. I am living in close contact with God. Say it. And that's the truth. You're great. Ernest said this on page 34 of the textbook. There is that within every individual which partakes of the nature of the universal wholeness, and insofar as it operates, is God. So basically, that's saying we are it. We're the ones. This thing itself is taking form through us and through every other human being, every other being. And we're called, and as we're on our spiritual journey, to be aware of that and to think in alignment with it, because it's always saying, yes, my beloved. So if we know we're worthy, then we get showered with things that are worthy, are worth our while, our time, or our talent, or money. If we doubt our worthiness, then the universe has only one thing to do but to stop the flow. So it really is important that we remember always, 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 not just when you're praying, 24/7. It's responding to you. It's responding to me. Every great thought you have, every positive thought, every knowing is all creating more good in your life. And I don't have to say the rest of the sentence because you know what the other half is. So cut it out. That's all I have to say. Cut it out. He also says he has perceived that nature works through him in order to work for him. Nature works through him in order to work for him. I read a story and I didn't Snopes it, so it's probably urban legend and I don't care. I purposely didn't because I really love this story and I hope it's true. So the story goes that as a woman was expecting her second child, the first child, who was about 3, sang to the baby in her abdomen, put his hand on her abdomen and sang to her, to the baby, not to his mother. He was singing to, he knew it was going to be a sister. He knew this. He was so excited about his sister. And so he sang to her. He sang a song that many of you are familiar with. I know I sang it to my baby sister, who's 12 years younger than me. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. So anyway, the little girl was born, and she had some very severe medical issues. And so she was in intensive care, and it didn't look like she was going to make it. And the little boy kept asking his mommy, when am I going to see my sister? I want to sing to her. When am I going to see her? And the mother thought, if he doesn't see her now, he might never see her. So she made a decision. She dressed him up in the scrubs and of course they're way too big, and took him into that intensive care, and the nurse said, get that child out of here. And she said, this is my child, wants to see his sister. I'm going to allow it. And he went up to the bassinet, I guess, or whatever that little baby was in. And he started to sing, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. And even with those first words, her numbers started to improve. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. And her numbers stabilized. Now, I believe in the power of love because that is who we are. That's why I'm not going to snope it. Because if it happens to be an urban legend, oh well. It's a beautiful story about love healing. And love does heal. You know that in your own lives. You know that when you love, things are healed. I was sitting with Ryan's little daughter, Kyrie, as the choir was rehearsing. And she was telling me she had an owie on her finger. And I said, you know, God's healing that right now. She said, is he trying really hard? I said, absolutely, he is. It's happening right now, but you have to let it go so it can happen. Our nature is the nature of God, but we need to allow it to work through us. Okay. So our life is our beliefs. Everything you see, and I love this photograph because it's a picture of reflection. And that's sort of the way the law is. It's a law of reflection. What it is that we see out here has first of all been experienced on your inner self. Whatever it is you're seeing out here was first of all an idea within you. And the ideas that manifest aren't those random thoughts, but are our beliefs. When I was at the Greg Braden workshop, he said, touching your heart is a really good practice because it moves your intellect out of the brain and into the whole being. And I kind of like that idea. Now, what we know is thought plus feeling equals belief. Thought plus feeling equals belief. So our life is our beliefs. And this is the day. This is the day that you can change any of those beliefs if you so desire. And the ones that are great, just keep adding to them. The ability consciously and specifically to better our lives depends on the degree to which we are able to believe in our basic concepts of the nature of life and faith. The ability to consciously and specifically to better our lives. So do we believe that you can have a better life today than you had yesterday? Absolutely. The only thing that stops you is that right here between your ears is your own thinking. That's what stops you. As we align with the truth, we reveal the truth. But the first thing, so aligning with it means you allow yourself to be as pure, as true, as good, as whole as you can. Will we always be successful? No, not always. But we can try. We can try. We can move toward it. So think about, what will you do this week to align with truth? Last year sometime I talked about The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's book, and everything that happens, every point of power is in the present moment, nowhere else. It's in the present moment. So the ability to change your life isn't what you thought yesterday. And it isn't what you're going to envision tomorrow. The ability to change your life is what's happening right now, today. What's going on in your mind today? It's a good day to choose good. It's a good day to think positively. And thinking positively, sometimes people get They accuse us of being like a Pollyanna. What's so wrong with that? Honestly, what would be wrong with being Pollyanna? You would be bringing more good into your life by thinking positively. But we have come in our culture to think that that's a negative. Oh, you're just thinking positively. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you very much for noticing. Don't allow someone to put you down for thinking the right way, for being in alignment with truth. I know that we have mothers and grandmothers here today that are concerned about their children, their grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren. And I know from my mom that mothers everywhere, at least of her age, really believe that they should worry because worrying was good. It meant they were a good mother, right? Well, if I don't worry, if I just let the kid go out, maybe I don't care. But it really is false thinking. Worrying is not something that makes you a good mother. Being prepared makes you a good mother. Teaching your child how to think rightly is being a good mother. Loving your child, singing to your child, talking to your child is being a good mother. You didn't hear me say worry once, did you? About let's all now worry about what could happen when this kid goes in the car for the first time by himself. No, stop it. Stop it. Come back. So what are you going to do this week? Where are you tempted to not align with truth? I didn't go to the monastery yesterday to meditate with the women's group, and I intended to go, but my body has been manifesting some unlike God things. So stop it, body, stop it. Live in alignment with truth. Live in alignment with truth. And what did I do? Wednesday, I got a wonderful treatment from a practitioner. Why? Wasn't I treating for myself? Of course I was. Of course I was. Does that mean that I can't ask for more support? Every minister and practitioner knows that whenever we're going through something and it isn't changing immediately, call another practitioner. Call a practitioner to what? Know the truth for you. To see you whole, complete, and perfect. Because that is your truth. That is your truth. That is my truth. So aligning with truth. How can you do that? What can you do to align with truth? Here's a hint. We teach it in all of our classes. Come on, shout out. Meditation. What else can we do? Love yourself. What else can we do? Affirmations. Breathe deeply. Be in alignment with life. What else? Prayer. Prayer and meditation are the two key ingredients to changing your life. Singing is good, especially if it's a positive song. If you're singing the blues, get over it. It's not helping you too much, although it might be entertaining. So choose one or two of these things and make a commitment to yourself to be more positive today than you've ever been. I'd like to close by sharing with you, I shared in the meditation. It's a poem that's 2,500 years old, was part of the Rig Veda, but I didn't know that. When I was 14 years old, I was asked to be a counselor for a middle school group. And I had the best 10 days of my life. It was so much fun. And one of the things we did every morning is we read this together. And I apologize that I didn't get copies for you all, but I can have copies next week. It's called Salutation to the Dawn. And here is how it goes. Look to this day, for it is life the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn. Look well to this day. Spirit is everywhere, all the time, right where you are, and so it is. Thank you. And Diane's going to take us into prayer, but before she begins setting it up, any special requests?
Praying for Chelsea.
Okay. Prosperity, wholeness, and for Jade, confidence, and Dana. So we've got 3 children. Peace, healing, and so we've got Lover Boy too. So we have dogs and kids. Freedom from worry. What a great thing. And patience. So just take a couple of deep breaths before we go into prayer while Diane is playing, and accept as already being whole, complete and perfect, whatever it is you requested.
I will trust in the Spirit. I will open my heart. I will always remember the truth of God that has brought me this far. So lead me on this path of light, and every step I take in faith leads me home to a place where all I know is love and grace. Lead me on this path of light. Lead me on this path of love. Lead me on.
Knowing and recognizing that the path of light is the path of spirit, the God path. And in God, all things are whole, complete, and perfect. In God, all things are possible, and with God, all things are possible. So knowing that that is the truth, I speak my word for each one who requested for myself. I speak it in the first person. If anything doesn't fit for you, just let it wash over, because only that which you accept is yours. So this is what I know. I know that my body is the glory of God in expression. And every cell, every tissue, every function, every fiber of my being is aligned with that perfect wholeness, the pattern which was created in the beginning, the perfect pattern of health. Every cell in harmony in loving connection with every other cell, that there is only this wholeness. And I call it forth now in every single one of us. I call it forth whole, complete, perfect, perfect vitality, energy, aliveness. I speak this word for prosperity, that the abundance of God is my abundance right here, right now, that God is the source of my supply. And knowing that that source is everywhere present, I make welcome a greater experience of prosperity. I make welcome greater supply of every good thing that I desire, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's talent. I am open and receptive to more good in my life. For I know that that circulation is normal and natural. And furthermore, I speak this word for love, that this one power that is the power of love is filling every cell. It is opening my heart to give of itself, to speak with love, to listen with love, to speak only the truth, and be in alignment with the nature of love. For that is natural and normal for the spirit within me. And I speak this word for the creative expression in each one, whether it is photography or dance or music or singing, or whether it is speaking, no matter what it is, that creative expression is the way God gets to show off, and God is a big show off. And it's great to be expressing the Godness in you. And God is thrilled to be expressing this greatness through you, as you. And furthermore, for all the children and grandchildren that were mentioned, Dana and Chelsea and Jade, what I know for each one of them is the blessing of wholeness, blessing of knowing their oneness with Source, the blessing of allowing that healing flow of God consciousness to flow through them. I know that this is so, whether they know it or not. I accept it for them. I accept the perfect right action, the perfect wholeness. I accept for every pet, every animal, for particularly lover boy, right action, wellness and well-being, the natural, normal way of being. I speak this word for the attitude of patience and allowing that is just natural and normal for God. Simply allow. And I speak this word for every person who is challenged by any kind of addiction, that here and now, the wholeness of God has put a blessing on each one. It's complete. It's done. So I'm grateful. I'm so very grateful. My life is filled with God, and it's good and it's great and it's wonderful. And with my heart filled with gratitude, I simply place this word in law. I know that it's done. And please join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you. And once
Thank you so much,
more.
Reverend Heather. And please welcome back the Jewel Tones Choir. This next song is a beautiful lyrical poem about coming home. And it's called Homeward Bound. It's not the popular Homeward Bound, you know, it's a different one. And our soloist today is Wade Wooldridge. And I ask you to just, whether your image of home is a structure, a place, a memory, or that dwelling inside you, that's the most beautiful, love-filled place to be. In the quiet
quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sun is bright and red, when the summer's just beginning, and the sky is blue and fine, with the million faces beaming, I'll be homeward bound in time. I'll come back through the meadow to the sweet scented air. I'll be on my way to find you with a song and a prayer. If you find it's me you're missing, if you're hoping I'll return to your thoughts, I'll soon be listening. In the road I'll stop and turn, and the wind will set me racing as my journey nears its end, and the path I'll be retracing when I'm homeward bound again. I'll come back through the meadow to the sweet scented air. I'll be on my way to find you with a song and a prayer. In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows start their singing, I'll be homeward bound again.
Lots of help this morning. If the stewards would please come forward, it's time for us to share our gifts, our tithes, our offering. Please repeat after me. Divine love in me blesses and consecrates all that I am, all that I have, all that I give. I give with love, and I love to give. And so it is.
And we have another treat for you with our lovely choir here. And this song is called The Circle of Love. And our soloists in this one will be Rita and Ryan. But first, I'm having some of my guys on mic. So Dave, come out and take that other mic just for the beginning next to Harry. Yep. And here we go.
A circle goes round and round again. It has no beginning and has no end, for it will be spinning eternally. A circle was drawn by God's hand, filled with love it will expand to welcome all who will hear the call and join in the circle of love. Join in the circle of love. Join in the circle of love. God gives love and there's enough for all who need a holy touch of love and care. Open hearts can share. God will touch many hearts, make us one from many parts, and we will be joined in unity. We're joined in love, circle of love, love. Join in the circle of love. Join in the circle of love. So come together and gather round. Share the circle of love we found. God is the center and God surrounds us with love. With holy love. With holy love. Circle of love comes round again, and its power shall never end. For love will be living eternally. Love is strong, love is great. Come together and celebrate and welcome all as we hear the call to share the love. The circle of love. The circle of This circle of love goes round again. It has no beginning and has no end. No end.
And we're going to welcome in those kidlets now with this little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go,